Welcome to Sri SCSMath, London. We are continuing with our morning program, and we are going to today read from Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta. We didn't read yesterday because we were happily listening to Guru Maharaj on his disappearance day. And now we're going to continue. We are in Madhya-līlā, chapter 12, cleansing of the Guṇḍicā temple. And what's been happening? Okay, so they've just all been feasting after cleaning the Guṇḍicā temple. They've been in the garden somewhere feasting. Jai Gurudev. Jai Guru. And now Govinda has just taken his remnants. And then there's going to continue on with a new phase of the day. So, Jai Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta ki Jai, Jai Shri Kṛṣṇadāsa Kavirāja ki Jai, Jai Jai Sri Caitanya, Jai Nityananda, Jai Dvaita Chandra, Jai Gaura Bhakta-vrinda. Okay, so text 204. Aradine Jagannatera Netrotsavanam Mahatsava Hoila Bhaktera Prana Samana. The next day marked the performance of the festival of Netrotsav. This great festival was the life and soul of the devotees. Pakshadina Dukhi Loka Prabhura Adarshane Darshana Kariya Loka Sukha Pailamane. Everyone was unhappy for a fortnight because they could not see the deity of Lord Jagannath. Upon seeing the Lord at the festival, the devotees were very happy. Mahaprabhu Sukhelaya Savabhaktagan Jagannatha Darshane Kavirāja. On this occasion, greatly happy, Sri Caitanya Mahāprabhu took all the devotees with him and visited the Lord in the temple. Age Kashishvara Jaya Loka Nivarya Pache Govinda Jaya Jala Karanga Laya. When Mahaprabhu went to visit the temple, Kashishvar walked in front, checking the crowds of people, and Govinda walked in the rear, bringing the sannyasis pitchers filled with water. Pravara Age Puri Bharati Dunhera Gawan Swarupa Advaita Dunhera Parshve Duijan. When Mahaprabhu went toward the temple, Paramananda Puri and Brahmananda Bharati walked in front of him, and at his two sides walked Swarup Damodar and Advaita Acharya. Pache Pache Chale Jaya Arabhaktigan Utkantate Gela Sabha Jagannatha Bhavan. With great anxiety, all the other devotees followed them into the temple of Lord Jagannath. Dashana lobete kore marjada langana boga mandape jana kore Sri Mukha darshanam. Out of great eagerness to see the Lord, they all neglected the regulative principles and, just to see the Lord's face, went to the place where the food was offered. Trishata Prabhura Netra Brahmara Jugala Gata Trishnaya Piye Krishnera Vadana Kamal. Mahaprabhu was very thirsty to see the Lord, and his eyes became like two bumblebees drinking the honey from the lotus-like eyes of Lord Jagannath, who is Krishna himself. Prafula Kamala Jini Nayana Yugala Nilamani Darpana Kanti Ganda Jalamala. The eyes of Lord Jagannath conquered the beauty of blossoming lotus flowers, and his neck was as lustrous as a mirror made of sapphires. Bandulira Pullajini Adara Suranga Isar Hasita Kanti Amrita Taranga. The chin of the Lord, tinged with buff color, conquered the beauty of the banduli flower. This increased the beauty of his mild smiling, which was like lustrous waves of nectar. Yeah, the chin of the Lord, tinged with buff colour. Not sure what buff colour is, but yeah, anyway. Conquered the beauty of the banduli flower. This increased the beauty of his mild smiling, which was like lustrous waves of nectar. Sri Mukha Sundara Kanti Bante Kshane Kshane Koti Bhakta Netra Banga Kore Madhupane. The luster of his beautiful face increased at every moment, and the eyes of hundreds and thousands of devotees drank its honey like bumblebees. Jatapiye Tata Trishna Bante Nirantara Mukkambuja Chari Netra Najaya Yantar. As their eyes began to drink the nectarian honey of his lotus face, their thirst increased. Thus their eyes did not leave him. Ehimata Mahāprabhu Loya Bhaktagan Madhyana Paryanta Kaila Sri Mukha Darshan. Thus Mahaprabhu and his devotees enjoyed transcendental bliss upon seeing the face of Jagannath. This continued to midday. Sveda Kampa Ashrujala Vahi Sarvakshan Dashanera Lobhe Prabhu Kore Samvarana. As usual, there were transcendental blissful symptoms in Mahaprabhu's body. He perspired and trembled, and a constant flow of tears fell from his eyes. However, the Lord checked these tears so they would not disturb his seeing the face of the Lord. Modye modye bogalage madye darashana bogirasamaye Prabhu Kavirāja. Their looking at the face of Lord Jagannath was interrupted only when he was offered food. Afterwards, they would again look upon his face. When the food was being offered to the Lord, Mahaprabhu performed his kirtan. Darshana Anande Prabhu Sabha Pasharila Bhaktagana Madhyana-caritāmṛta Prabhure Loyagyela. Feeling such great pleasure upon seeing the face of Lord Jagannath, Mahaprabhu forgot everything. The devotees, however, took him to his lunch at noontime. Feeling such great pleasure upon seeing the face of Lord Jagannath, Mahaprabhu forgot everything. The devotees, however, took him to his lunch at noontime. I'm not sure.
Because he forgot himself.
Okay. Took him to his lunch. Oh no, it's just a funny expression. Took him to his lunch. Pratakale Ratha-yātrā jab habeka janiya sevaka lagaya boga jiguna kariya. Knowing that the car festival would take place in the morning, all the servants of Lord Jagannath were doubling their offerings of food. Guṇḍicā Madhya-līlā saṅkshepe kahila jahadeki shuni papira Krishna Bhakti hoila. I have briefly described the pastimes of the Lord in washing and cleansing the Guṇḍicā temple. By seeing or hearing these pastimes, even sinful men can awaken their Krishna consciousness. Jai. Shri Rupa Raghunatha Pare Jara-as Caitanya-caritāmṛta Kahe Kṛṣṇadāsa. Praying at the lotus feet of Shri Rupa and Shri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I, Kṛṣṇadāsa, narrate Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta, following in their footsteps. Okay, well, should we start a new chapter? Thinking that was kind of brief. Okay, the crowd votes yes. Chapter 13, the ecstatic dancing of the Lord at Ratha-yātrā. Okay. Okay, so first verse, as always, original composition from Kṛṣṇadāsa Kavirāja. Sajiyat Krishna Caitanya Shri Ratha Gre Nanartaja Yanaschi Jagatam Chitram Jagannatho Pivishmita. Astonished about something. May the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, who danced in front of the car of Sri Jagannath, be all glorified. By seeing his dancing, not only was the whole universe held in wonder, But Lord Jagannath himself became very much astonished. Jai Jai Sri Krishna Caitanya Nityananda, Jai Advaita Chandra, Jai Gaur Bhaktivinda. Okay, Jai again. Jai Shrotigana Shuri Kare Ekaman, Ratha-yātrāya Nitya Prabhura Parama Mohan. All glories to the listeners of Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta. That's you and that's you. Please hear the description of the dancing of Lord Caitanya Mahāprabhu at the Ratha-yātrā festival. His dancing is very enchanting. Please hear of it with great attention. Aradina Mahaprabhu Hoya Savadana Ratre Utti Gana Sange Kaila Pratasnana. The next day, Mahaprabhu and his personal associates got up in the dark and attentively took their early morning baths. Pandu Bijay Dekipare Kavila Gaman Ratha-yātrā Kaila Chari Singhasan. Mahaprabhu and his personal associates then went to see the ceremony of Pandu Bijay. During this ceremony, Lord Jagannath leaves his throne and gets up onto the car. Okay, that might take all day. Apani Prataparudra Loya Patragan Mahaprabhu Ragane Karaya Vijay Darshan. King Prataparudra in person, as well as his entourage, allowed the Pandu Vijay ceremony to be seen by all the associates of Mahaprabhu. Advaita Nitayadi Sange Bhaktagan Sukhe Mahaprabhu Deke Ishvara Gaman. Mahaprabhu and his prominent devotees, Advaita Acharya, Nityananda Prabhu and others, were very happy to observe how Lord Jagannath began the Ratha-yātrā. Balishta Dayita Ganda Jenamata Hati Jagannatha Vijay Karai Kori Hata Hati. The very strongly built Dayatas, the carriers of Jagannath deity, were as powerful as drunken elephants. They manually carried Lord Jagannath from the throne to the car. Okay, so that's why you see Jagannath when he comes out is moving like this, is because all of his carriers are like drunken elephants. Kata kaduyita kore skanda alamban, kataka dayita dare Sri Padmacharan. While carrying the deity of Lord Jagannath, some of the Dayatas took hold of the shoulders of the Lord and some caught his lotus feet. Katitate bada dridhas tulla patadori duidike daita ganda uttaya tahadori. The Lord Jagannath deity was bound at the waist by a strong, thick rope made of silk. From two sides, the Dayatas caught hold of this rope and raised the deity. Uchadrita tuli sabba pati stane stane ekatuli haite tvairaya ara tulite ani. Excuse me. Strong, puffed up cotton pads called tulis were spread out from the throne to the car, and the heavy deity of Lord Jagannath was carried from one pillow-like pad to the next by the Dayatas. Prabhu Padagate Tuli Haya Kanda Kanda Tula Saba Udijaya Shabdahaya Prachanda. While the Dayatas carried the heavy Jagannath deity from one pad to the next, some of the pads broke and the cotton contents floated into the air. When they broke, they made a heavy cracking sound. Vishwambara Jagannathe ke chalaite pare apana ichaya chale karite vihare. Lord Jagannath is the maintainer of the whole universe. Who can carry him from one place to another? However, the Lord moves by his personal will just to perform his pastimes. Mahaprabhu manima koredvani nanavajja kolahole kichuina shuni. While the Lord was transported from the throne to the car, tumultuous sounds were made on various musical instruments. Mahaprabhu was chanting Manima, but he could not be heard. Okay, so Manima is used to address a respectable person in Orissa. Lord Jagannath was being respectfully addressed by Mahaprabhu in this way. Tabe prataparudra kore apana sevana, suvarna marjani loya kore patta samajan. While the Lord was being carried from the throne to the car, King Prataparudra personally engaged in the Lord's service by cleansing the road with a broom that had a golden handle. Chandana jalete kore pathanisachene, nisachane, tucha seva kore vashi raja singhasane. The king sprinkled the road with sandalwood-scented water. Although he was the owner of the royal throne, he engaged in menial service for the sake of Lord Jagannath. Uttama hoya raja kore tucha sevana, ataiva Jagannatera kripaya bhajana. Although the king was the most exalted, respectable person, still he accepted menial service for the Lord. He therefore became a suitable candidate for receiving the Lord's mercy. Mahaprabhu sukha paila seva dekite, Mahaprabhu kripa hoila seva hoite. Upon seeing the king engaged in such menial service, Mahaprabhu became very happy. Simply by rendering this service, the king received the mercy of the Lord. Okay. Well, I might stop there, and because there's going to be a bit of a description about the cart. We do want to read some of Guru Maharaj this morning, of course. We'll leave it there. Jai, Srila Kṛṣṇadāsa Kavirāja ki Jai, Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta ki Jai. Okay, continuing with Sri Guru and His Grace. Srila Bhakti Śrīdhar Gosvāmī Maharaj. And, not sure what chapter it is because they're not numbered. Descents. But at the beginning they are. Oh no, they're not. Anyway, it's a chapter and it's called Descent of the Revealed Truth. Jai Srila Guru Maharaj ki Jai. Krishna consciousness, the spiritual conception of the highest level, descends by flowing down from one level to the next, just as from the peak of a mountain the Ganges flows in a zigzag way from one peak to another. Sometimes the water of the Ganges mixes with the current of the river Saraswati. That water is not to be considered Ganges water. When the water of the Saraswati joins the current of the Ganges, it is considered to be Ganges water. When the two rivers meet, the water that flows away from the Ganges is not the Ganges. But when the Saraswati waters enter into the current of the Ganges, it becomes Ganges. There is a saying that whatever water is deep within the current of the Ganges riverbed is the real Ganges water. The water will, that water will purify us, whatever its point of origin may have been. The purifying potency of the water has nothing to do with the water we can feel and see. What can we see with our physical eyes? The current of the Ganges is pure. When the spirit and sanction is there, it is a living thing and can purify everyone. So the very gist of the Guru Parampara, the disciplic succession, is Shiksha, the spiritual teaching. And wherever it is to be traced, there is Guru. One who has the transcendental eye, the divine eye, will recognize the Guru wherever he appears. one who possesses knowledge of absolute divine love in purity, he is Guru. Otherwise, the Guru Parampara is only a body Parampara, a succession of bodies. Then the caste Brahmanas, the caste Goswāmis will continue with their trade, because body after body they are getting the mantra, but their mantra is dead. We are after a living mantra, and wherever we can trace the living tendency for a higher type of devotional service, we shall find that there is our Guru. One who has that sort of vision awakened will be able to recognize the Guru wherever he may appear. Initiation into the mantra means to impart real knowledge and devotional sentiment from one to another. And that must be genuine. Nothing can be known about a homeopathic globule by an outer physical inspection, but the potency is within. So also within the mantra, the important thing is the type of thought or sentiment which is imparted through that sound. The impersonalists have got the same mantra and are also chanting the holy name of Krishna, but that sort of name will vanish in the Brahma Jyoti. They won't be able to cross the Viraja, the river between the material and spiritual worlds. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that when a Mayavadi chants the name of Krishna, his chanting of the name of Krishna is just like thunder to the holy body of Krishna. It does not produce any soothing effect. The Gaudiya Math deals with reality, not with the frame. We are trying to understand what is what in the spiritual thought world. We are not enchanted or captured by the mere form. We are interested in the step-by-step development in spiritual thought. In his Upadeshamrita, Srila Rupa Gosvāmī has said, Karambhya parito hare priyataya vyaktim jajur janinas tebyo jnana vimukta bhakti parama premaika nishtastaha. Out of many materialists, one may be a philosopher. Out of many philosophers, one may become liberated and take to devotional service. Out of many devotees, one may attain pure love of Krishna. He is the best of all. We are interested in understanding this gradation. What is the Viraja river? What is the spiritual sky, the planet of Lord Shiva, the Vaikuntha world of Vishnu, Lord Ram's Ayodhya, and then Krishna in Dwarka, Mathura, and Vrindavan? We want to know the realistic view of the whole gradation of devotional thought. Krishna shows the gradation in the Srimad Bhagavatam, where he says, Nātata me priyatama atma jodnir na sankaraha, na cha sankarshano na shrir, na ivatma cha jata bhavan. Neither Brahma, nor Shiva, nor Sankarshan of Vaikuntha, nor the goddess of fortune Lakshmi Devi, nor even my own self are as dear to me as you. You are my favorite, Uddhava. We have to follow the spirit. Otherwise, after Jhanavi Devi, the wife of Lord Nityananda, up to Vipin Goswāmī, from whom Bhaktivinoda took initiation, there are so many unknown lady gurus. Through them, the mantra came to Vipin Goswāmī, and from him, Bhaktivinoda Thakur received the mantra. We accept Bhaktivinoda Thakur, but should we count all those ladies in our disciplic succession? What was their realization? We are slaves of the truth. We are beggars for the pure current of truth that is constantly flowing, the fresh current. We are not charmed by any formality. I will bow down my head wherever I find the river of nectar coming down to me. When one is conscious that the absolute truth is descending to him from the highest domain, he will think, I must surrender myself here. Mahaprabhu says to Ramananda Rai, Kiba vipra kiba nyasi sudra kiranai, ye Krishna tattva veta se guru hai. Wherever the truth appears, wherever the nectar of divine ecstasy descends, I shall offer myself as a slave. That is my direct concern. Guru Maharaj is continuing. Whatever form it takes doesn't matter much. The form has some value, but if there is any conflict, the inner spirit of a thing should be given immense value over its external cover. Otherwise, if the spirit has gone away and the bodily connection gets the upper hand, our so-called spiritual life becomes a sahajya, a cheap imitation. When we are conscious of the real substance of Krishna consciousness, the real wealth we are receiving from our spiritual master, then our spiritual life cannot be sahajaism, imitationism. We must be aware enough to detect our guru's advice when we find it in another. One who is awake will see, here is my guru's advice. I find it here in this man. Somehow or other it has come here. How? I do not know, but I see my guru's characteristics, his dealings and behavior in this person. When we are able to recognize a thing for its intrinsic value, then wherever we find it, we cannot neglect it. There is an example of this in an instance regarding Aurobindo Ghosh of Pondicherry. He was the first leader of the anarchist party and practically the founder of the revolutionary movement in Bengal. In 1928, a case against him was proceeding in Calcutta High Court. A famous attorney, Mr. Norton, was in charge of the prosecution. Aurobindo had absconded, and when the case was going on, he was not to be found anywhere. Norton was concerned how to find him. Aurobindo's English was very good English. He had been educated in England from childhood and could speak English even better than many Englishmen. Norton began to search through different papers and magazines for Aurobindo's writing. Finally, he found Aurobindo's style of writing in the Amrita Bazar Patrika, a Bengali newspaper. Here is Mr. Ghosh, he said. The editor of the Amrita Bazar Patrika was summoned to court to find out whether Aurobindo Ghosh had written this article. Norton examined him. This is your paper. You must know who has written this article. You are the editor. Yes, I know. Do you know this man, Aurobindo Ghosh? Yes, I know him. I consider him to be one of the greatest men in the world. As the editor of this newspaper, do you know who wrote this article? Yes, I know. Has Mr. Ghosh written this article? I won't say. Norton asked him, do you know what is the punishment? Yes, 6 months imprisonment. You are ready for that? Yes, I'm ready for that. Holding up the newspaper article, Norton said, here is Mr. Ghosh, I rest my case. He saw Aurobindo in his writing, and in a similar way we must see, here is my Gurudev. Our spiritual master would always sometimes say of one, our spiritual master would also sometimes say of one of his disciples who had departed, Bhaktivinoda Thakur came to me, but I could not recognize him. Those whose divine vision is awakened are always seeing signs of divinity everywhere. Okay, so that's our task, is to see divinity everywhere. And as Guru Maharaj has mentioned, we're going to the land of gurus, right? Where everyone is guru. Everyone and everything is of a higher substance than us. That's the posture that we have to have when we're even thinking to try to be drawn into that direction. Not that we are going to take ourselves in that direction by our own efforts, but if there is some necessity, we'll be drawn there. Until such time as there is some necessity for us to be there, then we won't be there. It's as simple as that. We cannot barge in on higher Leela just because we think we'd like to go there. Sounds like a nice place to go. Let's go there. Not so easy, not so cheap, as Guru Maharaj is always reminding us. We want the real thing, not the external cover, not the simple, cheap thing.
Slaves of the truth.
Slaves of the truth. Yeah.
Wherever we find that truth, we bow our head.
Yeah. Okay, Navakishore.
Hari Harai Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha.
Hari Hari Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha.
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshivaya Namaha.
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshivaya Namaha.
Gopala Govindaram Shrimadhusudana.
Gopala Govindaram Shrimadhusudana.
Giridhari Gopinatha Madana Mohana. Shri Caitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra. Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunatha. Sijiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunatha. Echai Goshani Kori Charana Vandana. Jai Hoite Binana Vishta Purana. Echai Goshani Yara Muitaradasa. Tasavara Padaremu Mura Panchagrasa. Tadera Charana Shebi Bhakta Sanivasa. Janame Murai Abhilasa. Echai Goshani Abhi Vraji Koilavasa. Radha Krishna Nichalila Purila Prakasha. Anande Bolo Hari Braja Vrindavana. Shri Guru Vaishnava Padma Jayamana. Shri Guru Vaishnava Padma Koriyasa. Harinama Sankirtana Kohera Motana Dasa. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama
Guru Gauranga Sundar Radha Giridhari Ju ki jai.
Jai.
Jai Srila Gurudev ki jai. Srila Guru Maharaj ki jai. Sri Rupa Nuga Guru Vaga ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Sri Caitanya Saraswati Charja Binda ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Binda ki jai. Sri Caitanya Saraswati Math ki jai. Sri Caitanya Saraswati Math London ki jai. All the assembled devotees ki jai. All the world devotees ki jai. Sri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Nitai Go Premanande. Hari Om.